Welcome, everybody, to Engineered Profits, how to make your trading income so predictable that you can quit your day job without fear. That's brought to you by Brian McAvoy of Inside Out Trading. That would be me. And that actually is no exaggeration. You're in the right place if you're ready for something different that actually works. Are you ready for a change in your trading? You're tired of putting in the time and not getting the results that you desire? You're ready to have control over your trading, including yourself, so that you can enjoy some security in it. That really is like the big deal I found for traders. I know it was for me in my early years. Now, here's what you'll come away with today. You're going to come away with the real reason why making and keeping money trading is so hard and how to make it less hard. You're going to have a clear plan moving forward, how to take control of your trading and stop being subject to the markets, how to get very intentional about how much you make with your trading. And yes, you actually can do it. You're going to see why. And you're also going to get some redemption if you've been blaming yourself and beating yourself up. That also is a big one. I know confidence and the self-doubt and everything, that can be one of the toughest things about being a trader. And lastly, you're also going to have reason to be genuinely optimistic about your future as a trader if your confidence has been beaten down. I'm going to show you the entire process on how to engineer your profits, how to take the struggle and uncertainty out of it, and make your trading so predictable and reliable that you can actually create a forecast for the year. I kid you not. And at the end, if you decide you want my help in making this happen in your trading, just to make it faster and easier, we'll talk about that, so that you can affect a change in your trading and for the better with your trading. That's my goal here today, is to share with you key insights that I've gained from my own experience and working with hundreds of traders over the last year, because you're here for change. Now, if you want my help in the end, great. But even if you don't, I intend to make your time worthwhile. All I ask is that you take action for your own benefit if your trading has not been performing the way you'd like. It just breaks my heart to have someone come to me saying they wish they'd gotten my help sooner because they're still not where they want to be and they've let years slip by. Time, effort, and money just gone to waste with basically nothing to show for it. So don't just do nothing, but continue what you've been doing if it hasn't been working. Please do something. Fair enough? Okay. Again, what you're about to discover here today is different. We're talking about trading so predictable and reliable that you can quit your day job without fear of putting your family at risk. Now, how can I make such a bold statement? First of all, what you're going to learn about today, this comes from outside the trading world. This is not the same old stuff that's been around for 50 years in trading. And the cool thing is, it works so well that yes, 20 years ago, I was able to tell my boss to go get stuffed, and I've been living life on my terms ever since. Over the last 19 years, I've helped thousands of other traders turn their trading around. I've even worked with a number of trading professionals. For example, John Foreman, who's a professional trader and market analyst who worked for Reuters for a few years. He says Brian McAvoy brings a refreshing new perspective to trader development. His background in process engineering really lets him approach things in a completely different way than most trading educators. As a result, you won't get the same old tired material from him. And from one of my clients, he says, under the expert guidance of Brian, I've been able to achieve the consistency that my trading lacked for the past 8 years. He'd been fighting it for 8 years. Sharp guy, too. He says, Brian gave me the tools and the framework I lacked to reap consistent profits from trading. And for the first time in my trading career, I feel confident that I can truly make a living from the markets. Okay, so here's what we're going to cover today. The three overlooked psychological mistakes that make profiting with trading so hard. And this is not what you think. These are not, again, this is not the same old tired trading psychology stuff, trading stuff that you've heard on other webinars and videos and other sources. I'm going to share with you how I discovered your ticket to freedom with trading, the 3 steps involved in engineering your profits, how to enjoy predictable profits with any strategy. This is not strategy specific. So understand that. Also, you're going to learn how this engineered approach makes the uncertainty of the markets a non-issue. Now, real quick before we dive in, I have a couple of questions for you, just so I know where everyone's coming from today with their trading. First question is, what is it you're wanting to accomplish with your trading? If you would drop it in the chat and just let me know. I mean, are you here because you want to quit your current job and trade for a living, or you want to retire and enjoy a comfortable lifestyle? I've been amazed at how many people are trading primarily to support their church, which is cool. A lot of people now, over the last few years, gotten a popular theme to teach their kids so that their kids have that choice, the freedom of choice, build a nice inheritance, supplement your current income, or just travel the world. One of my Aussie clients His plan, and he's well on his way there. They're just shopping for a boat. Is he's in the process of selling his business and buying a sailboat so that he and his wife and kids can go sail the world. And he's going to trade from his boat, which is pretty cool. All right. All right. Peter says all the above. Now, as far as, again, so that I can have some perspective. Oh, Steve, yeah, already retired. Cool. Why are you here today? What's actually the problem that you've been fighting with your trading? Is it struggling to make money at all? Having trouble making it and then keeping it? The problem that you've been making the same mistakes over and over again that are keeping you from being profitable? Is it that you don't have a strategy or system that you have solid confidence in? Okay, Chuck says, yeah, he doesn't have a solid confidence in a strategy. And another common problem is jumping from strategy to strategy. Okay, let's see, seeking cohesiveness finally and to achieve competency so trading can be a major source of income. Nice. Good call. Okay, and thank you everybody for that. Next question. What have you tried to get your trading working? Reading books. Oh, Steve says two, two, three, four, and five. Okay. Of course, YouTube videos. Unfortunately, YouTube is a place where it's so easy to get lost in the avalanche of information and tons of misinformation. Of course, have you tried, of course, taking in lots of information on trading psychology, maybe trying different trading strategies? Okay. Yeah. Different strategies, joining different groups, hiring coaches and mentors. Okay. Cool. Fair enough. Good deal. Last question. How would you rate your confidence right now as far as how you are going to the markets and with your ability to make money and also just in general your say confidence in your future as a trader? One where, man, yeah, it's rough. You're circling the drain. Your confidence is really just bottomed out. And 10 is you're ready to just take on the world. Where would you rate your confidence right now? Yeah, yeah, it's been beaten down. Surprisingly, confidence is a big deal, and we're gonna speak to that here pretty soon. Cool. Again, thank you for that, everybody. Now, are you ready to move your confidence to an 8 or higher, where you're good and your future with your trading is secure? Because I kid you not, again, it's not an exaggeration. This is exactly what we're talking about here. It's really how to just take control of your trading. You're about to see how to make that happen in a very intentional manner. So let's go ahead and jump in. First things first, though, I have to show you what's been blocking your progress, what has really been in the way. The biggest problem that I see so many traders have is they're looking for the solutions in the wrong places. And that's why they just can't seem to get past the problems because they're looking at the wrong things that they think are the problem, and that's not the problem. And the thing is, if we don't address the obstacles, they will continue to take the fun and profit out of your trading. Now, there are three specific psychological mistakes I found that are very commonly overlooked. And these are the things that make profiting with trading so stinking hard. So, first psychological mistake, thinking in terms primarily of strategy and psychology. Now, every time I bring this up, first question I get is, so why is this a mistake? Doesn't that make sense? You need a good strategy and get a good strategy and focus on your psychology. So why is this a mistake? It's a mistake because it oversimplifies the problem. Understanding how things work and knowing what you're supposed to do, that's just not sufficient. It's kind of like golf. I've been around golf my entire life. I understand the rules. I know how the game works. When you're teeing off, keep in the fairway, get on the green as quick as you can to putt, and I know what I'm supposed to do. Keep my head down, mind my grip, my posture, left elbow straight, slow down on my backswing, keep my eye on the ball. But again, knowing how the game works and knowing what I'm supposed to do, that doesn't make me a good golfer. And even if I go out and buy a $20,000 set of clubs, that might help, but again, it still won't make me a great golfer. It won't make me a successful golfer. I mean, do you need a decent set of clubs? Of course you do. Do you need to stay disciplined about the posture, grip, backswing? Yes, of course. But if you want to golf for a living, it takes more than that. And the same thing applies in trading. If you want to trade for a living, it is certainly not as simple as find a good strategy and stay disciplined. If it were that easy, then I have the world's best trading strategy for you. And I guarantee you that if you just stick to the rules of this system, you will make money. I guarantee it. Are you ready? Drum roll, please. Buy low, sell high. That is the winningest strategy ever made. I guarantee it. And if you can do this consistently, you will make money, guaranteed. Yeah, I know. It's yes, I'm poking fun at it. But yeah, there is more to it than just find a good strategy and work on your psychology. Yet most traders persist in this limited line of reasoning, and I'm not blaming anybody. That's what so many people out there are pushing is yeah, just find a good strategy and work on your psychology and you'll be good to go. And the thing is, so many traders do that and then they wonder why their struggles continue for years. Most traders have been at it for a while. So is it possible that there's something else that's needed? We're going to come back to this in a minute because it's important and you're going to see what we're talking about. Okay, psychological mistake number two is thinking that there's something wrong with you, that you have some issue or deficiency. Now, this is a pretty easy conclusion to come to that you must have something wrong with you. I'm not judging. I did it too. I mean, here I was with what I thought was a pretty decent strategy, but for the life of me, I just couldn't seem to consistently do what I knew I was supposed to do. Or, of course, avoiding the stupid mistakes. And the thing is, that's a logical train of thought. I got a decent strategy, can't follow it, must be something wrong with me, right? Here's the thing. The notion, it seemed reasonable that I must have some issue maybe with my relationship with money. I've got some lack of discipline, some lack of emotional control. Maybe there's some deep-seated mommy daddy issue. Mommy said something to me when I was 5 years old that screwed me up for trading, and I need to uncover it and resolve this childhood trauma. Like I said, it just seemed reasonable. Yeah, there must be something wrong with me. I mean, seriously, can you relate? Almost everybody I talk to, they're like, yeah, that is a logical conclusion. I just can't seem to do what I know I'm supposed to do, so it must be me, right? What I need to fix is me. But see, here's the thing. I didn't have those issues, and you probably don't either. As a matter of fact, odds are very strong that you don't, and I have proof. You've already demonstrated that you don't. Simply by being in a position to trade, you have already shown that you are okay with money, that you are reasonably disciplined, that you have reasonable emotional control, and that you have sufficiently dealt with your childhood traumas. I mean, it's funny. I got into an argument with this one gal in the trading psychology circles, and she was like, "Brian, are you really going to sit there and tell me that they went through their childhoods without any trauma?" And it's like, no. Of course, there were things that were traumatic in childhood. We were children. A lot of things were traumatic. We were children. We didn't know how to deal with it. But the thing is, the fact that you're here shows that you've sufficiently overcome all of these issues. Because otherwise, you would not be in a position to trade. You wouldn't have the money. You wouldn't be, again, you wouldn't be here. So you've already proven that you're sufficiently okay and have the personal traits and assets to make it as a trader. Okay, so the next logical question is then, well, why is it so blooming hard to make money and avoid the mistakes then? Okay, again, is it possible that there's something else at play here? And yes, this is another one that can last 4 years. First, again, it's not something from outside your trading, like some psychological issue you have from your childhood or your belief system or whatever. The issue is the mental and emotional damage that occurred during your early months and possibly years of trading. I mean, looking back on my first year of trading, when I was a rank newbie and I didn't really know what I was doing, a lot of psychological damage happened. For an entire year, I was basically practicing bad trading and wiring all sorts of unhealthy perspectives and patterns and habits into myself. It was a whole year of emotional trading, revenge trading, chasing trades, strategy jumping all the time, hesitating, trading hunches and opinions, and of course, all the painful losses from the stupid mistakes. And after a couple of 100 days of that, it was pretty strongly wired into me. And what the thing is, that's what became normal for trading. The problem was that I started trading way before I had a solid handle on what I was doing, way before I had the full skill set to trade competently and skillfully and actually knowing what I was doing. And by trading with real money when my trading was very incomplete, before I knew what I was doing, a whole pile of psychological damage occurred. The psychological problems came from my previous experience with trading, those early years, not because I had issues as a person. And I found the same to be true of nearly everybody that I've helped over the last 19 years. So you don't have personal issues. You have damage from bad trading experience issues, which leads us to the third psychological mistake traders make that makes profitable trading so stinking hard. Okay. And that third mistake is denying that trading is gambling. What? Yeah, did I actually just say that? Well, yes, trading is gambling. It's professional speculation. With every single trade, we're anticipating that something is going to happen and we're placing our trade, our bet accordingly, right? It is. It's speculation. The outcome of any given trade is unknown. And so, as traders, of course, we learn to work with probabilities. But it's speculation just the same. Okay, so why does this matter in the context of this conversation, about psychology and everything, that trading is gambling? Well, here's why. Because this is gambling at the professional level. It is so easy to underestimate the skill level required to be knowingly successful as a trader. After all, when you think about it, there are basically zero barriers to entry for this occupation. There's no degree required, no test to pass, no certification, no prerequisites at all, except, hey, can you fund an account? And the thing is, trading is not an entry level occupation. But because there are no barriers, it's almost like it's an implied thing at its subconscious level with us. But it's not an entry level occupation where just anyone can walk in off the street and start doing the job and be good at it. That's the thing. This isn't poker night with your buddies or playing a slot machine. This occupation requires skill, a whole range of skills beyond being able to place trades. And while it may not feel like it, since it's just us in the charts, the other thing to keep in mind is we're up against some serious competition, and they are competition. I mean, after all, trading is a zero-sum game, meaning either you're a winner or loser on every trade. We're up against some serious players that have serious resources to ensure that they're on the winning side of trades. I mean, we're up against international banks, institutional investors, seasoned veterans. And the bottom line is, and the reason this matters, is that trading is gambling at the professional level. And if you're not showing up with a level of skill and range of skills to compete, it's going to be rough. It just plain is. And most traders don't get complete and adequate training to compete at this professional level. I mean, this is the major leagues. And the thing is, we get enough training to be able to trade, but not enough to be professional at it. Or as I've discovered early on working with a lot of traders exploring the normal psychological matters, that they didn't have psychological issues. They had incomplete training issues. And again, that was the same thing for me. I'm not judging anybody. But here's the thing. Nearly everyone gets, all of us, we get taught enough to be dangerous. We learn enough to be able to trade, but not enough to really have a solid handle on this where we know that what we're doing works. And here's the thing that where a lot of traders get tripped up. And it's funny because here's where egos get bruised. Because I'll be talking to somebody who's been trading for 5 years, and he's like, Brian, I know how to trade. It's just a matter of sticking to my rules. And the thing is, that is a very valid perspective. I'm not debating that. But like we talked about earlier, understanding how the game works and knowing what to do isn't good enough. I've known about golf and I've played all my life. I understand the game and I know what I'm supposed to do, but that doesn't make me a skilled golfer. Same thing goes for trading. And just because a person's able to trade, that doesn't make them good at it, at least not good enough to compete at this level and win. Only when we acquire the full set of skills and the proficiency can we settle down and be good at whatever it is we're doing. And this makes sense when you think about it. I mean, seriously, most people who come to me, most people in the trading space are professionals, executives, business owners. And so your day job is very likely more complex and sophisticated than trading. Certainly not an entry level job that just anyone could step in off the street and with no experience and do. And the thing is, you handle it just fine. And you, of course, don't have the psychological or discipline issues like you do with trading, right? No, of course not. Because you have the skill set to effectively deal with the challenges of that job. But somebody else trying to do your job without the skill set, they probably wouldn't do so well. It would likely be very stressful, almost impossible for it not to be an emotional experience. And again, it would be rough. They wouldn't do so well with it, right? Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, you handle it just fine. And trading is no different. When you have the full range of skills and the proficiency for this occupation, it really is no more difficult than your day job. So it's not really a matter of psychology and trying to fix your head to make it less hard. It's a matter of equipping you with the right skill sets, tools, and the right training to deal with the challenges that this occupation involves. This is how you make trading a whole lot easier. You make trading easier by focusing on getting really good at this, going beyond being just able to trade. Because we're talking about being good enough to compete at this level and win by giving you the things that you need to be the already successful person that you are. Again, most of the traders that I've run across are already successful people. We are a successful group. Traders are the whole population are above average people, and you're amongst that. And so what we want to do is add this to your list of accomplishment, becoming a successful trader. Now, what's really awesome is when you tell someone that you trade and they say, "Oh, you're a risk taker, you're a gambler." The cool thing is, instead of feeling a little sting when they say that and a little bit of embarrassment when they ask how it's going, again, not judging, I've been there, done that. Instead, when you turn the corner, it's cool. You can smile and you can reply, "Yes, I am, and I'm good at it." Now, understand something. It wasn't always like this. Now, here's where I'm going to tell you how I discovered this. Now, first, let me start by asking you a question, because this is something that's bugged me for the longest time, and it stuck with me. Don't you find it ironic that the failure rate in trading is so high, especially when you consider the fact that most traders are above average and generally pretty successful people? I mean, trading just isn't the kind of place where you're going to find a bunch of average Joes. The fact that you're here tells me that, yeah, you're probably above average too, like I was saying a second ago. You're probably a bit smart. You're probably a bit smarter than the average person. Probably also have pretty decent work ethic. You also likely have been successful at most things in your life. And you're used to winning, to being able to figure things out and make them work, even if it takes a little time. And that's what makes trading frustrating and disheartening, is it appears to be pretty straightforward. Yet a whole lot of people that are used to winning struggle to make money and keep it. They're unable to beat this and relax and enjoy some security in their trading. Now, again, if this sounds familiar, don't feel bad. Trading gets the best of a lot of sincere, generally successful, above average people. And again, I'm not judging. It got me too. Like, my first year of trading cost me over $45,000 and nearly cost me my marriage. Before trading, I was a quality assurance manager at a $100 million manufacturing plant where we're making plastic bottles for Pepsi, Coke, Gatorade, Aquafina, and such. It was a high volume, high speed, high dollar, thin margin operation. I mean, we had virtually zero margin for error because Pepsi and Coca-Cola are pretty hard customers. If we shut them down for a quality issue, they'd bill us up to $25,000 per hour for their downtime. We had to run and run well. And it was my responsibility as the quality assurance manager to make sure that we got good, consistent performance out of all 183 people in a plant. This was across 27 production lines, 7 different departments, 4 shifts, and 183 people day in and day out, week in and week out, month in and month out. It was my job to get consistent performance out of everything, both the equipment and the people. Now, when I started trading, I took a look at it and thought, oh, hey, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I get it. I can do this. I mean, I had the book from Ken Rauter. It's about futures trading, and he covered the basics, so I thought I was good to go. And I've always been pretty good at figuring things out and making them work. And it's how I wound up in engineering because I'm good at figuring things out. I looked at trading. Yeah, I jumped in. But the thing is, okay, I opened my account with $30,000 and I got busy. Now, my broker wasn't much help. He tried his best, but he knew how to place trades, not really how to trade. So I was pretty much teaching myself. There was not a lot of information out there at the time. So we're talking like over 20 years ago. And the thing is, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. For a whole year, I managed to stay afloat. Sometimes I was winning, but almost always handing it right back. The whole time, though, I felt like I was on the verge of a heart attack, which was ridiculous for somebody in their 30s because of the emotions and the stress. But I actually managed to run my account up to just over $47,000, and then it started. And I think it was the stress really in retrospect. Kind of like, when you work too much and you get sick and you wind up in bed for several days because your body basically decides that you're going to take a break and it forces the situation. I honestly think that's what happened to me with my trading and why I ran my account all the way down to just $1,700. My subconscious decided that I needed a break from the stress, and so it forced me to take a break by sabotaging my account completely. And I'm convinced this is why so many traders will completely blow up their account, not just take a beating, but they'll blow it completely up. It's because their subconscious is saying we're taking a break from the stress. Needless to say, I took a break from my trading. I was talking with a friend of mine shortly afterwards, telling her what happened and how I was just out of control and couldn't keep from making all sorts of mistakes and just it was horrible. And she said to me, she goes, Brian, at your work, it's your job to get good, consistent performance out of everybody. And you're really good at it. Your plan is doing great. Why don't you just take your quality assurance skills and tools and apply them to your trading? And I'm thinking, duh, no kidding. I was I was looking at trading and just dismissing the challenge of it, thinking it was too simple. But the thing is, quality assurance is all about establishing processes that produce predictable and highly consistent output, not just with machines, but from people as well. That's what quality assurance is all about. Now, it took me a little while to figure out how to actually do it, but I was able to apply the quality assurance principles and tools to my trading, and it worked amazingly well. For the first time in my trading career, I was calm and collected, and the execution was easy. The results were almost exactly as I expected, and I actually finally knew I had control over my trading. And after that, both trading and work had an entirely different feel to them, especially my job. Just knowing that I had a viable option to the job gave it a whole new feel, and everybody could see it in me. Now, I did keep working because I really enjoyed the work, and I liked the people that I worked with, and I really liked the guy that I worked for, amazing guy. But when our plant manager, my then boss, got promoted and he got replaced at our plant, things changed. The new guy came in and he and I just did not agree on how my department should be run. And he also wanted to dictate my hours. Well, it only took a few days and I'm like, screw this. Enough. I knew my trading was solid and I was already making more with my trading than my job salary. So I just walked in and turned in my notice. And it was awesome too. I remember my last day walking out of there. I felt like I'd been paroled. It was hilarious. That was July of 2005, over 20 years and going, and I've been living life on my terms ever since without looking back. I'm here today doing this because I want you to have that same freedom of choice where if you're not liking what's going on, you can walk away anytime you like with full confidence that you're okay. That's why I do this. So let's have a look at the three pillars of engineered profits so that you can have that same peace of mind and security in your trading. Now, in my years of trading, I found that there are three things that a trader needs to be successful and make this work. First thing you have to have is a specific method or system. I mean, you can't just be all random and inconsistent in what you're doing and expect consistent results. You'd be amazed how many traders are all over the place and they're saying, I want consistent profits, but they are. They are so random and inconsistent, it's ridiculous. Okay. Here's how to have a process for your trading that will actually produce predictable, reliable results. Again, this comes from quality assurance. This pillar number one is process engineering. Now, in this stage, the goal is consistent profits, right? I mean, that's with trading just in general. We want consistent profits. We want consistent, reliable, predictable profits because we want to have some security in what we're doing. And again, this is what quality assurance does in every business. Business owners, the same reason they apply quality assurance because these are the same goals. That anxiety about not making money or even worse, losing money sucks. And that's not why we're trading to lose money. We're trading to create a financial asset that we can count on to produce and give us some financial security and freedom. And this is why applying quality assurance is the perfect solution. Quality assurance is how you achieve that consistency and peace of mind. Now, see, when it comes to consistent profits, most traders are going about it backwards. They really are. They pursue their trading thinking, if I can just find a good strategy and get profitable, then I'll work on staying consistent with it. They say they want consistent profits, but they focus on profits first and then consistency after the fact. What I learned in my years of quality assurance is to focus on establishing consistency first. And here's why. Because you have that consistency, it's pretty easy to adjust and make it more profitable. But if you don't have that consistency, if your trading is all over the place, that's hard to fix. So the first thing we want to do is establish consistency. And the proof is in the results. What I found over the years working with hundreds of traders, again, from quality assurance, same thing. But here, you can take an average or even mediocre strategy, and if it's executed consistently, it will outperform and make more money than a great strategy that's executed inconsistently. You've probably experienced this yourself, where you've had a great strategy, but man, just can't seem to execute it consistently, not making money, right? Again, the magic is not in the strategy. It's in being able to execute that strategy consistently. Another mistake many traders are led to make is thinking that a strategy equals a system. Now, they're not the same, but a lot of strategy sellers, they act like they are. they're sitting there saying, I got to do this just because it's so fun. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it at least one webinar live. I actually saw it on a live presentation. I thought it was hilarious. Guy sitting there and he's like, just use our strategy. You'll get those consistent profits. I mean, look at this chart. We got in here, we got out over here, and look at all this money we made. You can do it too. And they're sitting there talking like the strategy is the system. It's not. And here's the difference. Your strategy is how you're going to get in and out of the markets and make money. It's like your investment thesis. Your system is how you're going to execute that strategy hundreds or even thousands of times consistently. They are not the same. Again, from being a quality engineer, they are hugely different. They are not the same at all. I mean, after all, here's the thing, and this is why it's so important. If you have a good strategy that produces profits, you want to be able to execute that strategy over and over again, right? This is why focusing on the process makes all the difference. And a quality assurance, the tools and practices are there to build a highly repeatable process that produces predictable, reliable results. So the first step is to pick a strategy that resonates with you, just a single strategy, and then we build a process for executing it. Now, you may be thinking, hey, but I already have a rules-based strategy. Well, and that is good. But having rules is just one of many different aspects of a highly repeatable process. A short while back, after talking with one of my coaching clients, I sat down and I listed out all the characteristics of a solid, highly repeatable process that delivers predictable results. Hang on just a second. Apparently, I got to mute somebody. Anyway, there are a number of characteristics that are necessary. There are actually 14 different characteristics. I was surprised that there were so many. I really was. I did not think that there would be so many, but when I was listing them out, there are actually 14 different characteristics for a process to make it really easy to execute consistently and that will deliver a predictable result, a predictable output. Again, this is from my years in quality assurance, where I was doing this again with 183 different people in all kinds of different situations to see this in action from. One of the problems that most traders don't realize is, and what's contributing to their difficulties is the system that they think they're working with, it has issues. It has functional issues. I ran the numbers a while back after doing this for a while, and I found that 98.2% of the traders that came to me for help had functional issues with their system, which, yeah, was pretty much everybody. Almost everybody sitting there saying, well, I've got a good system, and it just can't seem to stick to it. And it's like, no, you've got a broken system. What you're working with, what you're trying to stay disciplined to, has issues itself. It's part of the problem. So our first goal in, again, getting to the point where we want to be is establishing a really clear and a highly repeatable process. We are not worried about profits at this point. We just want to establish the solid, consistent process that will be easy to execute well. The cool thing is, this by itself brings a ton of relief, just getting clear on what we're working with. So the first step is to simplify. So many traders are working with a mishmash of systems, trying to catch every opportunity they see. I mean, I had one guy send me his system. It was 17 pages in his system. That's like, dude, you're trying to trade 5-minute charts. You can't even read this thing in 5 minutes, let alone try to execute it. And so anyway, first thing we want to do is pick just one strategy to focus on, not 5 or 10 all smashed together. The next thing we want to do is structure it properly so that it's easy to execute. I mean, I've seen tons of systems. They were just plain hard to follow. They really were. The third step is to remove inconsistencies and opportunities for error. So our objective is to begin with a solid, highly repeatable, easy to execute strategy. We're not worried about profitability at this point. The cool thing is, this by itself, just doing this, brings a ton of relief, just getting clear on what we're working with. Seriously, it never ceases to amaze me, the relief that everybody feels. With Robert Vallejo, it says, Brian taught me how to break down my trading system into its simplest form. What was once a confusing, unfinished mess of tasks is now a streamlined and succinct set of directions that anyone could follow. I highly recommend Brian, as his ability to help me focus and gain clarity has been instrumental in my recent trading success. So that's the first step, creating a solid, highly repeatable, easy to execute process built on a strategy that fits us. That's the first thing. Second thing a trader needs to be successful is confidence and skills. And so that's why next thing we do is the pillar number 2, performance engineering. Now that we have a consistent process that will produce predictable results, we want to have confidence that it will deliver the profits we desire and meet our financial goals, right? So, thing is, trading with little or no confidence sucks. Again, been there, done that. We all know what it's like to trade with that anxiety of not knowing if we're going to make money or lose it. Again, that just sucks. And again, from quality insurance, in order to have confidence and peace of mind, the best way to resolve that is we test. Now, a lot of traders know that it's a good idea to test your system, but what often happens is your live results don't match up with their testing, which of course doesn't help with confidence. The testing is crucial and it needs to be done properly. I mean, the last thing we want to do is lose money to find out if our system needs work. So we test in the sim account using a very specific sampling plan and method for the testing. This way, we know that our test results are actually a good representation of what to expect when we put money at risk. So we test for functionality. Does it work the way we expect? And we also establish baseline performance so that we know what needs to be dialed in. And again, this is where my quality background really saved me and makes this work really well. Instead of just trying stuff to make the system perform better, I developed a very specific method for both the testing and making adjustments. It allows you to be very calculated in what you're doing and also stay very organized, all the while building your confidence that indeed what you've got works and it will deliver. The result with this is that you wind up with a process that is highly repeatable, delivers predictable results, and you can go to the market with it knowing that it will, knowing exactly what to expect from it in terms of performance. Not hoping, knowing. And many of the mistakes traders make comes from doubt. Through the proper performance engineering, we eliminate that doubt and replace it with rock solid confidence. You come out of this part with a system you can really have faith in because you have proof by your own hands that it works and you know exactly how well it works. Dave Deming, that was his big thing. He says, I have a very patient approach now. I know what I'm looking for and I know what I'm not looking for. Both my comfort levels and emotional levels are rock solid right now. My confidence in the past was at a 2. Now it's at an 8 to 9 consistently. So now that we have that solid, highly repeatable process and we have it dialed in for profit, now we need to make sure that we can execute and not make the mistakes that hand it all back. So, which brings us to the third pillar. And this third thing is that a trader needs to be successful is the ability to execute the solid system we have created. So we go into psychological engineering. Again, this is not standard trading psychology because again, we were talking about the problems earlier. Psychological engineering consists of specific mental conditioning to firstly undo the damage of the past and then wire you for consistent execution. That's why it was so important that I wanted to bring it up to you earlier. Because if you don't understand that that's where the psychological issue is that needs to be addressed, you're sitting there thinking you got some personal issue like lack of emotional control and that kind of stuff. It's like, no, we need to address what happened in your earlier experiences with trading, undo that damage, and then that creates the space to wire you for consistent execution. So like I said, like we noted before, a large portion of the psychological issues have come from the damage of the past, not because you have personal issues. Those patterns and triggers and associations and responses that got wired into you in your early days are still affecting you now. That's why they're so hard to fight. We have to undo that damage. And it doesn't happen by continuing to do the same things that reinforce the patterns of the past. We have to interrupt those patterns and make space for healthy, productive, constructive patterns. Then we also need to rewire you for consistent execution so that it happens easily and naturally without having to fight or control your emotions. We accomplish this by giving you an entirely new experience with your trading. And that's really the only way to do it. You can't will yourself or think yourself into it. That's what kills me about most of the trading psychology. Adopt a positive mindset, adopt an abundance mindset. It's like that doesn't fix bad stuff from 50 bad trades that lost money and you got that pain to deal with. No, we have to change your experience. You can't will yourself or think yourself into it. And the cool thing is, when I was quality manager, most of my time was spent working with people and creating training programs that made consistent execution happen across the entire plant and over time. I spent a little bit of time with the machines. You probably heard of SPC, statistical process control, maybe Six Sigma, and that kind of stuff. And a lot of that applies to the machines. Most of my time in the manufacturing plant, though, was working with people and making sure that everybody's doing their job correctly and everybody's doing it naturally, and it happens all the time. So training was a huge part of it. And that's what's really cool. Again, it applies perfectly for trading. Okay, it's the same thing. Now, we're just talking about three things that you have to make it work. And remember how we talked about so many traders are oversimplifying the problem? They just focus on one aspect when in truth, you have to take a holistic approach and get everything working at the same time. You can't just have one or two or three things working and some things not working. With trading, it's kind of like your body. If your heart and your lungs are working, but your liver's failing, you got a problem. Everything has to be working for you to be healthy. So with trading, you have to have a consistent process. You have to know that it works and it will deliver. And again, not just hoping or going on somebody's claims, you have to know that it works and it will deliver. And you have to undo the psychological damage of the past and rewire yourself through a new experience with trading. These are the three things. When you have all three, now you can trade with confidence, peace of mind, and success. For Dave, this was the thing. He said before, wasn't getting anywhere. I'd win, I'd lose, I'd win, I'd lose. Joined a lot of groups and wasted a hell of a lot of money. This is the one thing I was missing. And it's amazing how you can miss it. And now he's at a 10 out of 10, which is really cool. Again, he'd been trading for years, not able to get profitable. Now, at this point, you may be thinking, yeah, but will this work with my strategy? Am I going to have to switch to something else to make this work? It's a question I get on a regular basis. Probably one of the best things about this particular framework, the quality assurance framework, is that you're not locked into any particular strategy. I mean, if you think about a business, I mean, quality assurance has been used in every business around the world and over the last 50 plus years. It works with everything, which is really cool. And so with trading, you can apply this to any strategy you like. I've taught this to traders of all sorts using all kinds of strategies, everything from technical, fundamental, hybrid, astrology. I even worked with one guy. He had truly a random entry strategy system. It was so hilarious. I didn't know, I wasn't sure if it would work until I actually did it with him. He had a sheet of paper where he had written down the different things that he liked to trade. And he would lay it out on the table, he would close his eyes, and he'd take his finger and he would just let it drop on, and wherever it dropped, that's what he was going to trade. He had a quarter, he'd flip the quarter, heads, market's going up, tails, it's going down, and he would enter the market and based on that information. Here's what I'm going to trade. Coin flip says what direction I think the market's going to go. And it was all on the trade management, and we got him profitable on a truly random entry. He did not care what he was trading, even, and he wasn't worrying about even looking at the direction of the market or timing on the entry or anything. It was all into trade management, and he was profitable. And that is what's so cool about it. Like I said, it's getting that consistency in the execution of the process. So the reason this works is because it's based on quality assurance principles, which are designed specifically to produce highly predictable, consistent output, regardless of the activity. And it's been proven to work in every business on the planet over 5 decades. And in trading, I've been teaching this for nearly 2 decades. It just plain works. Now, you may be thinking, yeah, sure, it sounds great, but what about the uncertainty of the markets? Huh, Brian? Yeah, the markets have an element of uncertainty. That's true, but they're not random. If the markets were random, the charts would look like scatter plots, which they don't. They look like the chart behind me. You know what I'm talking. You know what charts look like. There's an underlying order to the markets. I mean, after all, what are the markets? It's people and computer algorithms, which have response patterns, and we see that in the charts. The events that trigger responses in the markets can happen at any time. That's where the uncertainty comes from. But as every strategy ever developed it came about because somebody saw something over and over and over again in the charts. And they figured out how to identify the beginning of that. And they built a strategy to get in and out because if they could identify the beginning of it, now they know what's likely to happen. And I refer to these as windows of predictability. That's what I like to call them. And that really is what gives us our edge as traders. This is what lets us trade for a living because we have these windows of predictability that we can act on. And it all comes down to getting control over what we do and getting very intentional. It's pretty cool, huh? Okay, we'll take a little quick breather here. I know we've covered a lot. I've been at it for about a little over 45 minutes. So take a quick breath. Let's recap what we've covered. The last 45 minutes or so, we've covered how oversimplifying the problem really contributes to traders staying stuck, how there's nothing wrong with you as a person. The trading psychology that applies to your trade really that applies is related to your experience with trading. As a person, you're okay. How accepting that trading is gambling, it's professional speculation, and the thing is, you have to bring your A game here. But it's important that that is recognized to sit here and say, no, I'm not a gambler. You are, and it's okay. Just accept it and don't let that be an internal conflict for you. How most traders are taught enough to be dangerous, but not enough to succeed. Another thing we touched on. I discovered, and I told you the story, how I just discovered that by applying quality assurance principles and tools, this is what lets you get a solid handle on trading and addresses the issues that make it so hard. How establishing consistency first before profits is so crucial. How testing properly makes all the difference when it comes to eliminating doubt and setting expectations. Talk about how the psychological work to be done involves undoing the damage of the past and rewiring you for consistent execution through changing your experience. How you can use any strategy that you like. You're not limited to using someone else's strategy. And how the uncertainty of the markets is really a non-issue when you get control over your trading because of these windows of predictability. And really, most importantly, the three things a trader needs to be successful in this highly competitive occupation. You have to have a process that you're working with designed specifically for consistent output. You got to have confidence and skills so that you have that edge you need against all your competition here. You need to have an edge, your edge going into the markets. That's your strategy for how you're going to get in and out of the markets. But you need to have the confidence and the skills, and again, the skills so you have an edge against all the competition here. You're sitting at a giant poker table with literally millions of other traders, and you're competing with them for the money that's there. You got to be bringing an A game and the mental conditioning so that you can comfortably execute and easily execute without your emotions even coming into play. When you skill up, I mean, if you think about it, successful trading requires a certain level of skill, and that's up here. So long as you're down here, it's going to be rough. You got to skill up. And once your level of skill matches the requirements for this job, it gets easy at that point, just like any other job. Seriously. And once you reach that, it becomes as easy as any other job. Okay, so got a few questions for you right now. Has this been a good use of your time? Have you gotten anything useful out of it? If you would, seriously, go ahead and pop in the chat. I really would like a response. I mean, has this been a good use of your time? And have you got anything useful out of it? What are one or two takeaways that you've gotten out of this? Um, I'm serious. I am curious to know what's been particularly noteworthy for you or helpful. So Doug said yes, been good use of the time. Anybody else? Seriously, what's a take one or two takeaways that you got out of this? Concept of QA? Seriously, the quality assurance thing is what let me turn my trading around. It's what saved me as far as being a trader. Strategy versus plan. Yep. Oh, Betty, thank you. I appreciate that comment. Well, I want you to have that same well-founded confidence as well. And I guess the last question, can you see how this approach gives you control over your trading? My thought about it is this is how to be very intentional in your trading. Oh, Irvin says, yeah, I thought strategy and system was the same thing. Seriously, and that's why I bring it up because they are not the same thing. Cool. Thank you for that, everybody. Now, at this point, you've got two choices. You can take what I've shared with you and use it to take your trading to that consistently profitable level by yourself. And if you want to do that, I mean this sincerely, like I told you at the beginning, I wanted to share all this with you to help you with your trading. And if you want to take it and go do it on your own, cool. I sincerely wish you the best. Now, would you prefer to do that, or would you like the help of somebody who's done it and has helped hundreds of others? Yes, of course. And yeah, I'm talking about you. Would you like my help? So, if you were thinking too, yes, you would like to have the help of somebody. That is why I have the Engineered Profits. It is a training program, and this is specifically exactly what it does. It's how to make your trading income so predictable that you can quit your day job without fear of putting your family at risk. That's what the program is exactly about. Now, it's a training program that takes you through all three of the pillars that we discussed. We're talking about process engineering for consistency, performance engineering for confidence, and psychological engineering for execution. You're going to come out of this an entirely new trader. First, we're going to make sure that you're working with a strategy that's perfect for you because that's important. But again, there are dozens of strategies that work. The people made money with, tons of people made money with them. Literally, there are dozens of strategies readily available, freely available to you right now. If you need help finding one, I've got a guide. It's a 9 criteria to make sure that you're working with a strategy that is perfect for you. And that's a freebie. I can get that to you. But again, we got that's our starting point. Just pick a strategy that works for you. Next thing is we're going to employ the process engineering to construct a highly repeatable, easy to execute process on your strategy of choice to establish a consistency. Next thing, we're going to take it into performance engineering to prove it out and dial it in to make sure that you're not going to be fighting, um, to make sure that it will deliver on your financial goals and that it works the way you intend for it to. That's the performance part of it. Is yes, this system works and it works well enough that we know we can go into the markets knowing that the potential drawdown is well with totally acceptable to us and the profit is there. So and again, you're going to have proof by your own hands. And the third part is the psychological engineering. And it is psychological engineering. It's not just psychology, it's not just mindset work. We're going to undo the damage of the past and rewire you so that the good execution, it happens very easily and it happens very naturally. Again, this is what I was doing in manufacturing with 183 people, and I've been doing it with hundreds of traders since. And here's the thing, when you have the skill set and you have the process and you're operating from a position of knowing, your emotions don't mess with you because you're sufficiently equipped to deal with all the challenges that the markets throw at you. And they don't come up, including FOMO. Believe it or not, that's one of the best things about it. When you have that security in what you're doing, the markets can do what they want and it doesn't trigger you all the time. And by the end of the training, your confidence going to the markets and your optimism about your future as a trader will be at an 8 or higher on a scale to 10. This is what happens. It just plain happens. This is not some psychological trick. This is a process that's been proven all around the world, and it's cool. The way we're going to do this is over 6 weeks. We'll have weekly group Zoom calls where I'll teach you, answer questions, review homework, and give you assignments. Now, this is not going to be just tons of information, 25 hours of videos to watch. You're going to learn by doing. Again, you're going to have a different experience with trading, a very different experience, which is a big thing. It's not information. You're going to be doing some things that you've done before, but you'll do them differently. You're going to do some things you've never done before. And you're going to come out of this a different trader, which really is what you want, right? Not just the same as you've always been, but with a new strategy. You're looking for change. See, the thing is, the old you has struggled with trading. And because of that old you, you've missed out on many months when you should have been making more than you did, building your account and enjoying the rewards of your efforts. I want to share this with you. I've only got two things that I hang on my wall, and this is one of them. I kid you not. This is a photo of this thing on my wall. It says success is an inside job. Everything that got you to this point, everything that brought you here for a reason. We need to learn to love it and appreciate it. The person who got you to where you are now is not the same person who's going to take you to the next level. That person is completely different. And this rings true for every level as you move up. Every level is completely different from the last one. And you're going to need to be a different person to get there. This is what I'm trying to get at. You must continually let go of who you have been in order to serve who you are becoming. I love this quote. I've shared it with tons of people, I've shared it with my kids. And so I wanted to share it with you because this is absolutely true. The same you that's been trading for however long you've been trading, you need to let that person go and step into the new successful you. And the main thing is staying the same has a high price. For most traders, the price of not affecting change for all this time usually is in the tens of thousands of dollars and years of their lives. Now, I've had dozens of traders happily pay me in excess of $10,000 to fix their trading because they sincerely want to be able to quit their day job and are serious about having trading produce $10,000 to $20,000 a month for their living. So, how much is it to join the Engineer in Profits training? If all the things we talking about happen, if all that happened was it stopped you handing back profits, would that be worth $10,000? If all that happened was you came out of this training with a trading strategy and system that you could have faith in and you could rely on it and you knew down in your bones that it worked, would that be worth 10 grand? If all it did was give you some peace of mind and security about your trading, would that be worth 10 grand? Doing this in a group setting, not one-on-one, it wouldn't be that much. I put a lot of thought into this and what seemed fair and worthwhile and giving you a very solid return on your investment, I arrived at the price of just $1,500. And if you need to spread it out over a few months, we can do that too. Now, I got some bonuses for you to help make this even better for you. I'm including several bonuses. I got templates, including my favorite one, the trading process template I developed years ago. It makes engineering the process very easy. You come out of it and seriously creating a highly repeatable process. This makes it so easy. Got the trading system profit potential calculator for doing the performance engineering. And again, doing everything in a very calculated and business-like, organized manner. Also got, and this is an exclusive bonus. You can't get this anywhere else. John Foreman, the professional trader from Reuters and market analyst from Reuters that I was telling you about earlier, he gave me this to include with the different things that I create. It's a chapter from a book that he never published called Stopwatch Trading, but it's a chapter on risk and money management, which is really cool. Again, you can't get this anywhere. He never published the book. Also going to give you 30 days free access to Trader Brian AI. This is a clone, an AI clone that's trained on me. I uploaded all my work and everything into this AI clone. So you're getting 19 years of my experience and working with other traders. And the cool thing about this AI is you can pull it up anytime you want, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and have literally have a conversation with it, talking to AI Brian, and I will my AI will respond to you in my voice and saying what I would say. So it's like having somebody, it's like having 24-hour access to me. So we can have conversation anytime you want. We can talk about anything that's going on with your trading at all. And you'll get my answers, not some generic crap from ChatGPT or whatever. That stuff's very, if you look at the common AIs, yeah, you can talk to them, but you get very generic stuff. It's not actual trader experience. And again, what I teach is completely different. We're talking about engineering your trading so that it works, taking control of the process. So anyway, you get 30 days free access to my AI clone. And I also do have a guarantee. If your confidence isn't at an 8 or higher by the end of the training regarding your future as a trader, I'll work with you one-on-one until we get you there. That's my goal, is to get you there. And the cool thing is this process works. I've been doing it for a lot of years and it works with everybody. I've only had a handful of clients where it didn't work. And almost there are only two reasons this won't work. If you are so mentally absolutely crushed that nothing is going to bring you back, this won't help you. Nothing will. The other thing is, if you don't follow it, if you don't do the work, it won't work. I've had in last year I've had one guy who he just stayed really stubborn on just doing things the way he wanted to do it, and he didn't do it. So far, he's lost about $70,000 since, because he's just continued to do what he's always been doing. If you do this, it works, and I have no problem saying I will work with you until we get you there. Yes, I am that confident in it. What you want to do right now, I'll drop it in the chat, is go to this link right here if you want to register. And let me pull up the chat. And you get registered. We're going to be starting next week with this, next Tuesday, October 7th. All right, so the link's in the chat if you want to go check it out. And I am keeping this very limited. A dozen traders is I'm keeping it. I want to keep it small so that it's very interactive. And again, it's now or wait, maybe forever. I'm not going to be doing it again this year, and I'm not sure when next year. Just found out my daughter gave birth to my first grandchild today. Literally like about a half hour before this webinar. Yeah, just became a granddad. So I'm going to be taking some time off for that after we're done with the training here and going and being a dad. It's just, unstable internet connection will forward me. Yeah, but yeah, the recording will be available. Yes. Now, what you're going to see on the next page, let me open it up. When you go there, what you'll see is this. And like I said, it's a 6-week live cohort. We're going to be doing a group coaching format. And I'm going to walk you through these steps on how to build a highly repeatable, easy to execute process that you trust. You're going to learn how to test it the right way so that you can have faith in it to deliver. You're going to have just rock solid confidence in your system and in yourself trading it. The self-doubt is probably as tough as not having a strategy that you have confidence in, is when you doubt your own self to be able to stick to it. That sucks. We're going to fix that too. We're going to undo the psychological damage of the past. Seriously, this is training. This is not information. This is not affirmations and wishful thinking and that kind of stuff. You're going to learn by doing. You're going to have a different experience with your trading that will rewire you so that, yes, good, comfortable, consistent execution becomes your default mode. And the best thing about it is you're going to have this is what skills you up. I mean, if I could sum it up in like one sentence, this is how you get good at trading. And the cool thing is, no matter what it is you're doing, when you get good at it, it gets easier. It gets a whole lot easier. So many traders are struggling. And again, I'm not judging because I was there too for a long time, and we're all smarter than average. But if we're not where we need to be, it's going to be rough. And so many people will stay there for years because all they do is they say, well, I'll just focus on discipline. I'll just focus on my strategy. And they just go back and forth between that and they never focus on getting good. And that's why the struggle lasts 4 years. Okay. So again, there's six live training sessions, cohort-based, private group access. You're getting the entire framework, the 2A toolkit, templates, trackers, and checklists, everything you're going to need. We will be doing live testing. Well, actually, analysis. The testing we won't be doing live. It doesn't work in like an hourly, weekly thing. Also going to give you the Trader's Guide to Emotional Management. This is actually really cool. That's purely psychological stuff. And again, there's my guarantee. Again, this is only $1,497. And this is an investment in you because it literally will pay you back for the rest of your life. I can't think of anything that's going to have a higher ROI than investing in you. Got two choices. You can do a single installment of $1,497, or if you want to spread it out, six installments, $297. And there's also on that page, there's some video testimonials. We talked about Dave, Armando, another of my clients, Matt, and there's other comments down here from other clients. So if you're curious, yes, does this work? There's their words, and you can hear them live. And no, those aren't AI videos. Those are actually out of calls with them. All right. Tell you what, guys, let's go ahead and wrap it up. I appreciate y'all coming today. I really do. And I'm thrilled that you're actually taking time out of your day to pursue getting better as a trader and not just chasing new strategies. That to me is extremely encouraging. So good job with that. And in the meantime, I hope you all have an excellent weekend, and we will be talking to you soon.
All right. Thank you.
You bet, Mike, and everybody else. Thanks for being here.
All right. Bye.
Cheers, guys.